Wimmera football and the excitement of it all. It's great to cover it with Scotty Stewart on the Friday night sports show from the Warrack Herald. G'day, Scotty. How you going?
Yeah, I'm going well, thanks, Wayne.
Well, I tell you what, last week we saw the thrilling match of the round between two very, very good combatants, a low-scoring win. It went the way of the Southern Mallee Giants, and they were able to get over the Horsham D's in an absolute beauty up at Hopetoun. What transpired was a 5-9 to 4-5 win. And Coleman Shack said quite clearly, and we'll hear him talk later on about this, that had they lost that game, it would have been curtains for the Southern Mallee Giants season.
Exactly right, aren't you? And I think we touched on that last week about every game this from now on in for the Giants. It's an elimination final, isn't it? And they passed last week with flying colours, wasn't it? That was a really important 10-point victory over Horsham. Yeah, it's just you're looking at the ladder, and you just got to go through that now. And you put the 4 points onto Horsham, and season over for the Giants would have been a 2-game difference and 3-game difference and percentage there. But it's just changes, doesn't it? You get a 10-point win, and you're back in amongst it, and they're only 4 points outside the top 5.
Oh, they are. The Saints 14-11, they beat Nil 11-10. They still have a very mathematically slim chance of making the finals, albeit I think they'd have to win everything from here.
Yeah, you're right. Mathematically, yeah, they would have a chance. It was a tough battle last week, wasn't it, with the Nil boys. They put up a really good show, and it was interesting going through the results there, and a couple of young guns starring throughout the day. Young Drew Snyder kicking 5 for Nil, and Mitch Martin kicking 7 for the Horsham Saints. So that would have been a pretty good spectacle for the older boys who were sitting around watching that game.
Yeah, great stuff from both of those kids. And what about Stoll? Beat the Dimbola side 4-14, 38 to 4-8, 32. A low scorer, mate. I mean, I know Stoll Oval down there at Central Park. She's not that bad a surface, even when it's wet. So that is an absolute ripping result with really hard-fought, dogged football.
Yeah, I could only imagine what conditions would have been down at Central Park there last weekend for this one. She would have been fairly wet, as you say. The ground is a great ground, Central Park, and would have held up pretty well. But narrow 6 points win to Store, which is still goes them in line for a top 2 berth for that win over the Roos, who. Again, we've sort of had a bit of a chat about it, and we'll talk about it in the next weeks and today as well about Jimmy, who we don't think there's any chance of losing their place in the top 5. But that win last week would have cemented their spot in the finals. But not quite to be. 4-14 to 4-8. It was a bit of a hard slog, wasn't it? Oh. Notice another one there with the goal kickers, Mitch Thorpe, the recruit for Stall this year. Kicked all their goals, so that was interesting little back coming out of there, wasn't it?
Yeah, 4 goals from him, and he's kicked 32 for the season. Not one match this year has he missed out on kicking a goal. Every match he's been able to get on the score sheet, which I think makes him a very, very valuable recruit for his club. The match of football, Warrack Eagles went down by plenty, 2-3 to 17-13 to Ararat. I think the Eagles, I reckon Q in the rack time, maybe the juniors been played, and maybe the season just about now gone.
Yeah, well and truly for the Eagles boys from that one last week. Tough game, I would imagine. Pretty well undermanned with 2 of their main recruits missing and a couple of other lads that's out injured at the moment. But to go down 100 points for pretty wet conditions at Anzac Park last week, and Ararat, well, they thrive in those conditions, don't they? And they're on top of the ladder for a reason, and the final results certainly showed that. But the Eagles boys would have battled hard, and I think you mentioned last week about Phil Heaton playing his 200th Wimmera League game, so that would have been a good milestone for Phil.
Yeah, well done to him. Right, Mackenzie Best for Ararat, that's for the Warrack Eagles, Matty Penny, also Matthew Johns, Charlie Penny, Decky Powell and Sean Mackenzie. It was hard to kick goals, though, for them, 1 each to Mackenzie, Ryan and Declan Powell. Big effort up forward by Corey Taylor, booting 7, and he's kicked to 29 for the season to be amongst Ararat's leading scorers. This week's matches in Wimmera, Horsham D's play Minyat Matawa. Now, this is at City Oval. Minyat Matawa So they come off of last week having the bye. Maybe in the cold and wet weather, that's a good thing to have had that. They did lose their preceding match to the Southern Mallee Giants in a thriller. So for the Southern Mallee Giants' sake, they'll be calling on Minyip Matoa to do the job and beat the Horsham D's.
That's right. They'll be barracking hard, won't they, for the Boroughs to get over the line. And looking at the lineups, and as you said there, they sat out last week in those wet conditions with the bye and gave their lineup a good chance to get over some injuries. And I've noticed in the lineups that Jay McGrath and Tanner Smith are both back into the team for this game this weekend. So that's going to further strengthen the Boroughs lineup. And yeah, well, it's an interesting one. We'll preview the Rats and Southern Mallee Giants soon, but this one for Horsham, yeah, it's going to be a tough battle. I think they will be at home at City Oval, but I think the Boroughs coming off, as you said, the loss of the Giants and they had a bye last week and a couple of key personnel back. Yeah, they might be a bit strong for Horsham, but these will give it a good red-hot shot.
Oh, they give it a shot. If they lose this one, they've then got Stawell and Ararat to come with the last remaining matches because they have a bye too. So just get a feeling that this is on for the D's this weekend. Dimmy should beat nil and keep their finals position as a result. We'll go to the match, though, previewing Ararat and the Southern Mallee Giants at Alexandra Oval. If the Giants win 3 of the last 4, that means they wouldn't want to drop either this one or the next one against Stawell. And that becomes crucial for them. They've got to win 3 games, I think, of the last 4 to make the finals.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And they're in the position where they do play every round. So that we spoke about them last week. They always have that game up their sleeve where they will play the last 4 rounds. But this is like the major elimination final, isn't it, for the Giants? If they drop this one, it's going to make it very hard for them to get back in and just relying on other results and basically relying on Horsham to lose really for the rest of the year. But they won't be thinking about that. The Giants lads, they've hit some pretty good form over the last few weeks since they've got some of the key personnel back, and Coleman you mentioned there before, and Lou White. These boys back into the lineup. A couple of recruits, I think, must be injured around this weekend. They weren't named, but always have a strong side. But this is going to be a tough game going down to Ararat on their home ground down there at Alexandra Oval. So I think it'll be a tough day for the Giants, but if they put their best in for the 4 quarters, they're certainly capable. But I would be tipping Ararat in this one. Yeah.
You mentioned some injuries. The Southern Mallee Giants have got the 2 Bromley Lynches out of their side with injury, and also Liam Price out. But Sam Waddell comes back into the side from last week's victorious side, and also big Nick Dinham up forward to kick goals, their leading goal scorer of the year. So I'm going to tip the Giants to win down at Ararat. And Warrack Eagles play Stawell. Can the Eagles muster anything? I know that they're travelling players in Cole Cheney and Matty Yench, who didn't play last outing, so it's going to be a tough ask, even though it is being played at Anzac.
Yeah, back-to-back games at the park for the Eagles, and that's a tough 2 weeks as they come up against the ladder leaders and the informed team of competition in Stawell. So it'll be another tough day. Hopefully played in a bit weather conditions where the boys can at least enjoy a run around. I see Kyle Cheney's back in this week, but Matty Jents is still on the out list through illness. But look, Danny Bally, I'd see his lineup. He's switched a few things around, so he's just trying to find a bit of a formula for the last few games of the season, and probably putting more onus on the young fellas to step up another gear in their progression with senior footy, which will, it's all going to go well for them in the coming years. So hopefully, they put in a good performance. But Stawell, the way they're travelling at the moment, red hot favourite to win that one and keep their top 2 spots alive. Yeah. I think the games have been going in really well into the Warrack Eagles this year. You've got the Penny boys, the Power Lad, the very, very good kids like Johns and the Stevens lad. The Watts boys have been playing senior footy too. So all of that, I think, is going to be for next year. But unfortunately, they're getting nailed at this business end of the season.
season by clubs that are looking to make sure they play double chance and also make top 5. Well, good to have you, Scotty, on board, and looking forward to chatting to you again next time on Wimmera Footy.
Yeah, no worries. Good on you, Wayne.